Hey everyone, this is Poji Joe, and I'm going to be trying something new on this channel. I've done some interviews in the past before, but they've been very far and few between, so I thought it'd be interesting to try doing something a little more regular. So this is a chat with, and we're going to be doing some virtual and in-person interviews with people mostly within the art and music world, but hopefully, you know, people of other expertises will... Expertise, is that a word? Hopefully we'll be talking to all kinds of different people. So our very first guest this week is Brendan Bradley, who is a writer, a producer, director, actor, pretty much anything, you name it, in the entertainment world, and he's done it. He's going to be joining us today. Most recently, he was on the popular web series Frankenstein M.D. as the character Eli. So we're very delighted to have him on.
Hey, Pogi Joe. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Can you tell us a little bit about your career and how you got into it?
I started acting in North Carolina, doing community theater and school plays, and from there was very fortunate to be able to get into New York University, and I studied theater there for 4 years, and then I studied in London, and then I did the kind of regional theater circuit for a long time. Before finally deciding that I should try out the other side of the country. I'd never been west of the Mississippi, and so I went all the way to the ocean, to Los Angeles, and I've been out here for about 6 years, auditioning, creating my own work, writing, directing, producing, anything I can to just be involved in the entertainment industry and to hopefully build up a resume and build up contacts and, you know, networks and relationships so that I can continue doing the thing I love.
For people who aren't familiar, can you tell us a little bit about what Frankenstein M.D. is and who your character on the show is?
Frankenstein M.D. is a collaboration between PBS and Pemberley Digital, who are responsible for the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. And they wanted to tell the Mary Shelley novel Frankenstein in a new way for the YouTube audience. So my character is the Elizabeth character. They did some gender swapping in this so that Victor could be Victoria Frankenstein, so they then inverted the romantic partnership with Victor as well to make Elizabeth Eli. And so I'm kind of the childhood best friend to Victor Frankenstein that has been there throughout her entire life. And we've always been close, but have never really known what our relationship is, and over the course of the first season we start to really identify how we feel about each other, and that's all I'll tell you if you haven't seen it.
I personally love the first season of Frankenstein M.D. I think it's my favorite of all the Pemberley Digital shows that have come out so far. What has been your favorite moment on set from this whole experience for you?
There were a lot of favorite moments to choose from, but I think for me, and again I don't want to spoil anything, but in the finale I get to do a lot, not just as a character, but also as an actor. There's some stunts involved, there's a lot of emotion involved, and it's really great to be able to push yourself not just as a performer, but as a person and try out things that you've never really gotten to do before. So that was a really, really exciting day on set.
Especially as someone who works on online media myself, I don't think a lot of people understand exactly how that whole world works, especially since it's such a new medium. What are some of the positives and negatives of working within this medium for you?
Oh wow, there are so many positives and so many negatives to any art form. There's always pros and cons, and it really does become about what is the best way to tell your story. I think new media allows greater risks to be taken and even greater reward and a much more enriched relationship with the viewer because we're kind of all in it together. We're all collaborating around whether this idea will even work. And you get to actually talk to the audience. I've had such wonderful conversations from episode 1 all the way through the finale on Frankenstein M.D. and then to other projects as they followed me to other channels or other videos that I've been a part of, so that they can really interact with me about the different decisions that I make as an artist, not just in Frankenstein, not just on this episode or this one moment, but throughout an entire span of experimenting with my career and with a platform. The shooting schedule on a project like Frankenstein is incredibly intense. We shoot in block filming, which means we basically shoot it like a movie where we show up to set, because it's one location, we're able to basically just back to back to back to back to back shoot all of the scenes. And normally in a film, you know, you jump around between locations, so you may like hunker down for a day or two in one spot and knock out all the scenes and then go to another one. But because it all takes place in one location, it really becomes how quickly can we turn out the most amount of content. So we were shooting anywhere from 40 to 50 pages in a day, which, just to give you some perspective, in a normal TV or film, it's incredibly ambitious to be shooting more than 6 or 7 pages. That's a big day. But because we were shooting with multiple cameras, because we had such a great team involved, we were able to rehearse beforehand, we were able to really push our limits and try to pump out as many episodes as we could in such a short window.
I think it's becoming easier and easier with how readily available and cheap technology is for people to become these Renaissance men and women. You yourself have already conquered so many different types of media. What is your biggest dream project, if you had to choose one?
I don't know that I would say that I've conquered any type of media, because every day you're starting back at square one. Every project is so different, with its own unique journey. But I've definitely been very lucky to be a part of almost every facet of entertainment so far, from stage to TV to film to web, as a director, a writer, a producer, an actor. So I've been very, very lucky, and it's been a joy to be able to really see all the different mediums and platforms and genres that I can play around with as a filmmaker and a creator and an actor, or a storyteller. And I guess if there's like a dream project, there's so many, but I think the biggest one would be something that would combine my love of live performance with my love of the dialogue that you get to have with an audience in digital storytelling.
What compels you most to the entertainment industry? What do you think makes a good entertainer?
That is a tricky question. I don't know exactly what compels me. Sometimes I'm sure my parents and a lot of my friends would tell you it is madness that compels me. But I would say that I'm trying to figure out what makes a good entertainer. And I'll let you know if I ever find out the answer. But I know the people I admire are people who told great stories both on the screen and through their lives. They were people who were advocates for the disenfranchised. You know, they were telling the stories of people who were not being represented. And I think that's something that I've always tried to do, is take on characters and stories that are drastically different from mine, not only so that I can understand them and can sympathize with them, but also so that hopefully there's an audience out there that will fall in love with people that are vastly different from themselves and from their life journey and their experiences, so that we can all kind of understand where we're all coming from, and maybe, again, create some type of dialogue where we reach a better understanding and a better respect for each other as human people in the world. Because I think that, especially right now, we're dealing with so much terrible miscommunication happening all over the world. And what's great about art is there is no right or wrong opinion or response or answer. The important part is to have the conversation. And I hope that entertainers all over the world, including me, can just keep striving to encourage that dialogue, so that people that would never have a conversation in a million years, maybe are in the middle of a war with each other, would actually put down weapons or stop saying harsh words and actually reflect on something that is meaningful, and maybe understand each other's position and worldview a little differently through the lens of kind of suspension of disbelief and the fourth wall, and, you know, oh, it's just a movie, so it's easier to talk about or to relate to than it would be relating to an enemy, or relating to someone who I oppose, or someone I don't agree with or don't understand. So I think that's what makes a great entertainer, is advocacy. And I hope that I can continue to try to do that in any way that I can.
One last question. I saw you reply to a comment once where you said that you are also a big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which happens to be one of my favorite shows ever. What is your favorite character on that show?
Okay. Of all the comments, Buffy is what stood out. I don't want to choose somebody. And I think that the big, I guess, the most important answer to that question is when you have a long-running show like that in such a wonderful, rich, hyper-saturated universe, I think what is exciting is to get to see so many young actors doing either their first or one of their first jobs for a creator like Joss Whedon, who really builds a universe that pushes the boundaries and really invites people to play on such a heightened level. And I think something like over 800 people, actors, got to work on a show like Buffy that was running for so long. And I think that's what's incredible, is I envy that. I want to be a part of something that makes such a cultural imprint. And to get to play on that playground or in a universe like that would just be a joy. So I'm gonna cop out on this one. Maybe it's totally lame, but I'm not gonna choose. I'm gonna say that I just kowtow to any of the hundreds of people that had the privilege of getting to play on that show.
But hey, thank you for being our very first guest, Brendan. You can check out Brendan at his website, brendanaBradley.com, and on Frankenstein M.D. and tons of other places on the internet. Just Google him. Like I said, he's been involved in a lot of stuff. But hey, stay tuned for the next interview. I'm Poji Joe. Thanks for watching. You can get mugs like this on my website, except they have a red handle. Do it.